Well, hello again, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I thought about taking a little break from my usual instrument review videos and that sort of thing, and just kind of getting back to the basics of instrument maintenance and that kind of thing, and just show you guys how I change guitar strings, and this will be really similar for mandolin strings as well. And this is actually the way that D'Addario recommends their strings be put on. So this is a friend of mine's, Martin, that I just did a little bit of work on for him, a little setup kind of stuff. And so I'm getting ready to string it up. So let's see. I take it you probably know what to do down there already if you're watching this video. If not, I guess I could try to make a quick little tutorial about this. But let me see. Let me grab a string. One thing I like to do that I think is a really good idea is I keep up with the bridge pins, like what hole they came out of. So I've got this little block of wood here with some holes drilled in it, and you can see I've got 1, 3, and 6 marked there, and I just whenever I pull bridge pins out of a bridge, I try to put them back in the same hole that they came out of, because sometimes, depending on how old the instrument is and that sort of thing, you'll kind of get into some bridge pins fitting a little looser in some holes than in others. I'm trying to get my tripod set back up here. All right, here we go. So, and I'm going to show you some tools that I use that make this job a little bit easier. But I'm going to start out just showing you the bare necessities that you pretty much got to have. So I got my bridge pin here, and what I see a lot of people do, some people will struggle when they put these the ball of the string down through the hole there in the bridge. I always let the pin push the string down. I'll never just stick the string all the way down in there and then try to put the pin in. So I'm letting and I'm keeping a little bit of tension pulled back on the string here. So I just push it down like that, and you can see it just went. So that is step one. So now let's come back up here to the tuner side. And I want to try to do this without knocking the camera everywhere, which is probably going to be really tricky. All right, the one thing you're going to have is some kind of pair of wire cutters. So I mean, I guess you could do the old school method of just curling the string, or wrapping the string up in the excess and have the big loops of string hanging off your headstock, like some of the old timers I've seen do. But anyway, if you don't have a pair of wire cutters, I don't think you'd be doing yourself a disservice by adding one to your toolbox. You can get them at Lowe's or Harbor Freight or anywhere. Now, what I like to do is start out with the eye, the hole that is in the post there. I call that the eye. I like to start out with it facing the slot in the nut of the string that's going to be going there. So then, then I thread the string in, and this will be, let me get my neck rest out of the way here a little bit more. This will kind of be one of those things that you will just have to figure out what works good for you. The way I do this is I'll let my index finger, I'll let it lay on top of the nut, and I'll pull most of the slack out of the string. I won't pull it like just crazy tight where it's really, where you can almost make a note on it. I'll just pull it, pull most of the slack out, but not like to cut the circulation off on your finger. All right. And now the next thing you do is you always bend the string in towards the headstock, like so. You will never come off the headstock like this side. Let me see if I can zoom out here a little bit. Yes, you'll never come this way. You will always go towards the inside of the headstock. And now what you do with the excess is you take it underneath your main string here, the part that you're going to keep. So once you do that, I'll bring it back like that, and I'm pulling on this string a little, and I'm pulling on this one, and I'm just kind of like setting them, sort of getting the slack out. Now what I will do is with my right hand, I'll keep a little bit of tension held on the string here, but my thumb and index finger's free, so I'll just kind of hold that excess like that. Now I'm going to start tightening the tuning peg. And what will happen, this is going to be really difficult to show without just absolutely having to reset the camera. Well, anyway, what's going to happen is the eyelet is going to close up on the tuner post because of the, as you're tightening it. When you see that eyelet kind of close up, that's when I'll set this, pull tension here pretty well, and then I'll pull tension on the excess too, and then you just kind of bend it up, but I don't really try to crease it too bad. I just kind of bend it over enough to where it'll sort of stay there like that. And I still have tension pulled on this. Now I'm going to continue on tightening it, and I always like for the excess or the wraps to wind down, so there's always downward pressure on the nut rather than letting the wraps climb the tuner post. I have seen people that do that. Now I'll just take my wire cutters, lay it right down on the tuning post, and cut the excess off, and there you have it. And what that will leave you with is, you may have seen people's strings put on this way, and you kind of wonder how that happens. Well, this is how you do it. And as you can see, the string comes back around and bites the excess. So I mean, it pretty much can't slip. And doing it this method, you have the least amount of string on the guitar as you can pretty much about get by with. So that's that much less string to slip, stretch, get out of tune, settle in around the windings, around the post. It's just, I think the less string you have on the instrument, the better. All right, now I'm gonna show you. Let's see. You might have one of these little string winder things. That's a pretty handy tool to have too. One thing that I've really got to liking here lately is I bought this off Amazon. I think it's Music Nomad is the company that made it. I believe that's right. And it's just a peghead machine turner that goes in the end of a cordless screwdriver. I just got my little old Harbor Freight cordless screwdriver, and this is about the only thing I use it for. So on the directions, I just write that way makes it sharper, and that way makes it flatter. So instead of left and right, I knew that's much easier to keep up with as far as that goes. Anyway, I really enjoy using this thing, so let's put one more on with the string winder. And try not to knock the camera over. All right, same deal here. I've got a little, letting my index finger lay across the top of the nut. I'm creasing the string to the inside, taking the extra under the main string. And now, if I've got enough room, if the tripod's not in the way, now I can turn it that much, pull the excess over, kind of bend it up. You don't really want to crease it there. Again, like I said, you just want to kind of, bend it over or bend it up enough to where it will stay. And now we'll go ahead and finish. And there is the next one put on. Now, when you get to the other side, generally what I will do is just flip the entire guitar around. So let me get the camera repositioned, and I'll show you what I mean by that. Okay, so I have now flipped the guitar around. It was laying on my workbench this way when we were working on it before, putting the low E string and the A string on. So now, generally what I do is I just flip it around the other way. So if it was laying on your lap or whatever, this is kind of what you would do. So let me see if I can get the camera set back up here. I think that will work. Yep. All right. So now we'll just put we'll put the G string on. All right, so my eyelet in the tuner is facing the slot that the G-string would go in. So got the string threaded through. Now here again, I'm going to use my index finger. Generally speaking, that works pretty good for me. And now I'm always going to come towards the inside of the headstock. You never ever come off the headstock like this way. You always will go towards the inside with the bend. So now after I've got the crease, I took the extra and I went underneath the G-string, the main part of the string that we're going to keep, and I'm just setting it, like I'm pulling tension here and pulling tension here and just, you know, trying to kind of get it to take a set. So now let's close it up, and I'm going to show you what I mean if I can get the camera here in a position to actually show you what I'm trying to say. I don't know if you can tell there on the G-string, but the hole is kind of open. The eyelet, there's like a little bit of gap there. So I'm going to, what I mean when I say close the hole up, is I'm just tightening the tuner enough to essentially close that gap up, and you'll see it start closing up there. Like now it's you know, the extra or the main part of the string is touching the side of the tuning peg now. So I'm just going to keep tightening it like that, and essentially what I'm doing is just turning the tuner enough to where that gives me enough contact point between the main part of the string and the tuner post for me to be able to pull the extra up in there, and it just kind of pinch it against the tuning post. That's sort of the idea there. And that also kind of prevents you from creasing it too far, because this method works so well. I mean, it bites the excess of the string so well and locks itself that I have actually broke strings in two there. Like I've cut them right there before because I did crease it too much. So that's taking it a little bit too far. But and then again, I've got the make sure the extra winds go down the post instead of up. And now you just take care of your excess like that. And that is how I change strings on guitars and mandolins, and it works really well. I feel like this is probably the best way you can do it to keep your instrument staying in tune, because it's there's no way it can slip, and there's as little string on it as possible to help prevent stretching, slipping, settling. You know, like if you have a ton of winds going around the post, you know, all those things, it takes time for them to settle down and get real tight. So anyway, thanks again for watching. Hopefully this is of some help to you guys. And again, you know, you might have to experiment depending on the size of your fingers. You might find that you need to use 2 fingers underneath the string to set your distance, or to set the amount of wraps that you get. I generally like to have enough that the string starts back underneath itself. You know, that's generally what I like to shoot for. If you want more, you certainly can leave more, and I don't guess it'll hurt anything. I just think it's you know, probably excess that you're back to the, you know, more string on the guitar is more string to slip, stretch, get out of tune, that sort of thing. So anyway, thanks again for watching. I hope you subscribe to my channel if you like this sort of thing, and I will be talking to you again in the next video.